Greetings to you all. This is the Crusader Historian coming to you with my video on starting thoughts about Medieval 3 Total War. Sorry about the bad font look. It looks kind of bad. Sounded like a good idea when I had it. Well, I'll worry about that for a later video. Anyway, a few months ago, give or take, Medieval 3 Total War was announced. It was announced in a rather big way. The trailer was cool. The artists were excited about it. It was great. And they recently, and I'm saying it as a quotation, revealed some new information about it. And I'm going to look it over and talk about it and tell you my thoughts about it. To tell you what's happening, I am using a variety of sources. I'm using an article and a video from this guy named Invictus, I believe, and Zerkovich. Sorry ahead of time, bad pronunciations. You go over to you watch this video, go over to their videos and like them and say hello, tell them they're great. I did it because they were looking at a different video and I kind of lost track of where I was. But anyway, looking at all these initial thoughts, let's see what this new game has to look for us. I'm excited. So, this is the article that we're going to look over to first. Imagine a moment like this. You defend Jerusalem against Saladin, the kingdom of Jerusalem. Oh, first. The year is 1187 AD. You defend Jerusalem against Saladin, the kingdom of Jerusalem prevails. Ooh. I love that. Deus Vult. Constantinople is never sacked. The Byzantine Empire never falls. With the Byzantine Empire as your allies, you defeat the Mongols. That sounds like a wonderful idea. The Mongols crushed by a united confederation of Christian forces united together and crushing the Mongols and reasserting control over the Middle East. Beautiful. In 1412, the Holy Roman Empire disintegrates into small German kingdoms. Honestly, that sounds kind of funny. As a kingdom of Jerusalem, you proclaim yourself defender of the Catholic Church, and Jerusalem becomes the capital of the Christian world. Oh, I love that idea. I can imagine that. All of Christendom united and defended together. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. I love that. Trade with India and Asia blossoms. That is cool. Columbus never sails to America. That is not so bad, actually. That is what Medieval 3 is all about. You pick a realm, seize your glory, and rewrite history or kneel before it. I love that. And it says, of course, there are many other possible stories. We want players to tell what the sandbox is, because it's a sandbox game. But you know what? I'm okay with that. This brings very fun ideas. The realm, your faction, is really like the main character of a game. We want you to feel like being the architect of feudal realms. Okay. It's a build your campaign, allows you to forge your own legacy through the era. That sounds really cool. I can imagine already what I can do with that. I hope You see, when they were talking about this, I was excited because I imagined myself as a Christian power, a Crusader state, or even the Byzantine Empire. You know what? We'll use the Byzantine Empire for this. Like, my kingdom is led by the second coming of the Pale Death, the greatest Byzantine emperor of the age. He drives the Islamic armies, the Islamic forces back, reclaims the Holy Land, and this is my personal idea. I just raise and sack Mecca. I wonder what sort of effects that would cause. Oh, that would be fun to see. But they're using England for an example, so let's see. Imagine London, 1318. A fictitious king of a Danish dynasty, Ragnar the Fourth, is that? Has ascended your throne as a ruler of England. Yet you decide to abolish the monarchy and call out a league of free cities of England. And as England is now entering a hypothetical second Viking age, your prosperous urban centers will dominate European trade for centuries to come. What version of England will you create? So does that mean you can create your own dynasty or develop your own government? Interesting. What version of England will I create? Honestly, I don't know. It says here, master the tides of morale, discipline, and ever-evolving battlefields. I like that. Imagine Manzikert, 1221. Leading your Byzantine army into battle. Your right flank is suffering from high fatigue, and on the left, your light infantry is being pushed back by heavy enemy troops. But the rain starts, dirt turns into mud. The enemy sends in the last group of reserves to crush your retreating troops. Yet in the forming mud and bolstered by your general's presence, your light infantry withstands the charge in a heroic brace. A park in the darkest hour that ripples through your enemy and starts to turn the tide of the battle. Can you snatch victory from the jobs of defeat? Oh yes, that would be cool. Reversing the battle of Manzikert. Oh, that is a beautiful idea. I love that already. Finally, be the manipulator with the world as your stage. Medieval world is your canvas, and you are the agent of change across realms and of the world itself. So, this means, from my understanding, from listening to the initial live stream when they first introduced this, your actions have effective consequences for the world. Now, you are playing with the AI, and the AI is in the control of different factions. But that is a fun, interesting idea. Imagine Riga, 1278. Knight Teutonic Order leading the Baltic Crusade. Deforest regions to simulate timber trade. Found new cities. Your presence will transform culture, cities, and the land itself. They will show it later. It will be shown later, but we'll talk about it later. But what they have with them is very interesting and very cool. But I'm wondering how you transform cultures. Do you merge cultures like in Crusader Kings 3? What do you do? It sounds interesting. And that's the end of the article. Several questions. It is like, what kind of kingdom will you create? What dynasties will lead it? What people will inherit it? I'm already getting a lot of ideas. When this comes up, this is going to be great. How do you want to rewrite history? Oh, I have good ideas. I'm already enjoying this already. So this is from Invictus' channel, Invicto. Well, anyway, this is what we get so far from him. Apparently, the game is still in early stages, which okay, fine, fair. They're planning on taking us on this journey with us, which I find is rather nice. Placeholder content. So be patient, guys. Do not lose your cool. How big it is, aiming for Total War size. Scale is different. Vastness of the world is important. I like that. We might have all of Europe, most if not all of the Middle East and part of North Africa. This is going to be fun. Start date tentatively 1140 AD. Well, I did some research and I first thought it was this. And I was like, I don't know about that. I mean, there are some gems. And like Georgia, that would be fun playing the Georgia leading up to Tamar the Great, the Rus principalities, Pecheneg tribes, and such. But I then realized I picked the wrong one, the 102580 map. And so I found this map. Strangely, there are rarely, if any, maps of this period that's easy to find just by Google. It is very annoying. The best ones I could find were, how should Crusader Kings 3. Now, I like the game, but it is very annoying. That's hard for me to find out. But it looks like the Crusader states are around, so you can play as the Crusader states, which is going to be fun. But they mentioned, the article mentioned refighting the Battle of Manzikert, which happens way before that. So I really don't know. I think we will see. Well, anyway, it says here moving away from the province system, no more building slots, single region with an administrative capital, then rural developments. I think the best way to look at this is to go to Zerkovich's videos, and I'll show it right here. But they do, every region, every province has a capital around you for a start. So anyway, this is what you see. This is the beginning first match, first part, and as you see, a lot of, so far as of right now, you have the regional capital, but everything else is sandbox, which is very cool. I really like it. And the guys who, in the content creators, explained they wanted to make it feel a bit freeform. And there are places, there are spots where you can build your own. Like if you look below, see right here, yellow, that's not the color that I think works for right now. Right here, there are building areas you can make. So you can build your own areas, and from what I hear, the more time goes on, the more you can upgrade things. So you can build a lumber camp and upgrade it to a lumber town or a mining town or a standard castle or a port or a fort. And you can place them all over the map. Like here's another example. You can put your ports, your towns, your castles wherever you want. And this would affect the course of the game. So you can design the world how it goes. You can build your port, a port in a safe area, so you can get some trade. You can put a fort in an area where you think it should be. You can put a town in a central location, which I say, bravo for customization. Of course, do not think you can put 3 ports side by side each other. It will damage the surrounding area because each area has a trade-off. So that is great. And this is another example. So you can, this is one example on how you can work. You have your central settlement here, and everywhere else. You can build wherever you want. Ports right here, which is a safe place because it keeps you safe from Muslim pirates, and which is common in the Mediterranean. However, you're increasingly vulnerable to Vikings. You have a castle right here which protects this area. Not very many towns, but anyway, it's fine. And you can put castles, towns right here, and I feel like this Gurmaz castle is a sign that says it is a higher upgrade. Well, this is one early, as what you see on top, subject to change, but you can see what you can do with this. You can put castles in strategic areas, you can put ports in strategic safe areas, and you can put towns in other safe areas. And the people who build this say this this affects trade routes and movement routes. So that's something to keep in mind. And they are also bringing up the importance of population. Look to what you see right here. There's a fixed stage of nobles, townsfolk, and peasants. And this is where you get your recruitment from. When I looked at this, I was like, wow, interesting. That is kind of cool and kind of terrifying. Because it means you get, well, you cannot field entire armies from first off, the army, the people is tied to the area. So if you want something, you cannot do like global recruiting. I believe so. You have to go to this area and raise and gather an army from a certain area. You draw from the nobles, you draw from the townsfolk, and you draw from the peasants for your force. That is actually how medieval armies work, and I am pretty thrilled with that. However, say you build 3 units of knights and each has 60 people. That is 180 noblemen taken from that area, which that's a fair percentage. So, and same with townsfolk and peasants. Well, they have not said all the details, but it sounds like to me that you will have some effects depending on what happens. So you take away half of your nobles and 2/3 of your peasants in some areas, in one area, the area is not going to run as well as it should. And that is something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is this idea called right here. Regional wealth. So forget about that empire spanning pocketbook, that pocket wallet that you have. Apparently, the upgrades you get come from your area. The soldiers you raise come from that area. All the funds, all the income, all that stuff come from this area. And if you raise or sack or ransom something, your army has to move back to an area to move the wealth so you can use it. Which this actually will cause you to rethink about it, and it is really good because you're going to feel like how a medieval nobleman, how a medieval man thinks. How a medieval man, how a medieval woman. Yes, medieval women hold power. Do not listen to what several of those people say, but that is a topic for another video. I'm sure hoping they include female rulers like Tamar and Gwynllian. That would be awesome. Anyway, I'm getting far too ahead of myself, but bottom line is your soldiers and your wealth on which you pay them and and upgrade your buildings and build new buildings are drawn from specific regions. So that means you need to be careful and not waste it. That is going to be fun to watch. As for um, how this affects the gameplay, I'm actually pretty interested with it. This also means you have to be careful. You have to be careful. If you're terrible at strategy, well, learn to get better and do not always trust the auto resolve. So that is something to think about. And so that is, yeah, in conclusion, that is very interesting to think about. You can change what a nation looks like, and every action you have has consequences. And even more amazing, they are willing to take us on our journey with them. These are people that love Medieval 2 Total War and want to create Medieval 3 Total War, and I must say, I am glad they're doing it. And I'm looking forward to playing it. And I'm going to cover this more on this channel, and I apologize if this scene is outdated when you watch it, but I assure you this video was months in the making, and I am glad I finally got around to it. I was sick for a while, but now I feel better. Thank you for the video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends, and take a look at the links and family and your loved ones and so on and so forth. And look at the links down below. Until next time, Deus Vult.